but to something much more serious, and it's going to affect us all. Today, really, I saw the perfect symbol of our times, the Australian flag. Flying over Parliament House, what a sad sight. It was almost like it was in distress. A big hole in it, and who cared? Well, apart from Liberal frontbencher Dan Tehan.
Parliament will sit today under an Australian flag which has gaping holes in it. We should be able to do better. We need to have pride in our institutions, pride in our Parliament, and pride in our flag.
What a shocker. But really, all the symbols of our unity are now shredding and fraying, aren't they? I mean, the Greens at press conferences, they shove the Australian flag aside. It's too shameful. The Prime Minister tells public servants, nah, Australia Day, no need to take it off anymore. If you hate it, take another day off instead. And this week, another step down the road to our alternative future, which is a nation formally divided. This is Justin Mohammed. Justin Mohammed is now living proof that we are moving to apartheid, at least under this Albanese government, which has just named him as our first ambassador for Aborigines, our First Nations people ambassador. Now, I find this, I don't know about you, absolutely extraordinary. It's an insult. I mean, we now have an ambassador for just one race in this country, or more accurately, for people who identify with just one race, among the many they could. Even complete fakes with not a single Aboriginal ancestor they can point to. This ambassador is for you, Bruce Pascoe. Now, in case you think, well, no, surely this couldn't be true. It's a joke. We can't possibly now be this racist. Well, I got to say, check out the press release. It's true enough. The government says that one of Mohammed's official jobs is going to be to help grow First Nations trade and investment. And only theirs, of course. It's not there to help the trade or investment of any other non-Aboriginal Australians. None of the non-Aboriginal Australians who are paying most of his salary, because they are of the wrong race. How insanely racist have we become? When did this happen exactly? You know, we went from racism is bad to, no, let's become racist. In fact, you know, if Labor gets its way, by next year, Australia's going to have an Aboriginal-only parliament, its voice, right? Labor's voice. Plus now an Aboriginal ambassador already in place. And on top of that, the Aboriginal flag flying next to the Australian one, all confirming that we really are now, you know, two nations, not one. And to seal that apartheid deal, Albanese, our Prime Minister, has repeatedly promised to have a treaty as well, to work out some way for these two supposedly different nations to coexist in the same land.
Part of having a voice to Parliament is to inform the processes as well about Makarrata, about truth-telling, about treaty.
I can't believe this country is now trying to become another kind of apartheid South Africa style, right? What we used to condemn, including separate Aboriginal nations. Here's one of the big boosters of the voice. Professor Rufus Black is Vice-Chancellor of the University of Tasmania, which has decided to campaign for this new racial division.
Such a treaty and a day would not just unite two worlds. It would celebrate a national moment, not just the story of a single state. As a nation, we would become not just a federation of states, but a federation of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples as well.
Australians of all races pay for his university. He's got the flag of only 3%, people of 3% of the population behind him. It staggers me that boosters of the voice, like the big corporates, are now foolishly trying to show their kind. You know, let's have the voice, we're nice people here. They're all pretending this is all perfectly normal and civilised and safe. They're pretending it's not actually as racist as all get out, and in fact even barbaric and dangerous. But how often have I tried to warn that it is not hyperbole to say we're headed towards apartheid, that this is exactly what Labor is pushing us towards. Now, I've tried to warn of this, particularly since I took Linda Burney, who's now our Indigenous Australians Minister, part of our Aboriginal aristocracy. I took her to see one of the Aboriginal groups that already have declared sovereignty over parts of Australia, the Cairns-based Yidinji Tribal Nation, which has even appointed a Prime Minister and a Foreign Minister, when you believe, and issues passes to visitors. Now, I thought Linda Burney would be shocked. Instead, she actually approved.
I consider you a fellow citizen, a fellow human being. I don't know why there needs to be some sort of legal separation between you and me where I need a pass just to come and talk to you.
Well, it's a government.
Fascinating exercise. Yeah, I do approve of it.
Now, this ludicrous and offensive apartheid is exactly what Anthony Albanese is creating, whether he means to or not, because what else do you expect? If we keep insisting that Aborigines are so different as a race, so fundamentally different, so exotic, so apart, that our federal parliament is not good enough for them. They can't have just that. They must have their own parliament too. I mean,
this is an issue that's extremely close to home. My grandmother, a Wiradjuri woman, a proud Minguleta elder on the New South Wales Central Coast. My dad, a proud Wiradjuri man, and myself, a Wiradjuri man. It's making sure that we have a voice to Parliament, making sure...
That guy is actually one of the 11 federal politicians we now have who identify as Aboriginal, and he says we need the voice because we Aborigines need a voice to Parliament. My Aboriginal mate, you do have a voice to Parliament. It's you. It's you. Just look in the mirror. You're actually in Parliament yourself. And the rest of us should now give you another Parliament as well because you identify as Aboriginal. And a Parliament and an ambassador now and a flag and a treaty to come. Where does this actually stop, do you think? You've got to ask, why are we treating ourselves to this carnival of racism? Why are we tearing ourselves apart like this? Please, wake up.